let's talk about something serious. And this really has shocked the tennis world and the sports world, because I don't know of any other major superstar athlete who has come out and said they used crystal meth. So let's talk about it. You said you did it with an employee named Slim, an employee of yours in your house in Los Angeles.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Where is Slim now?
I don't know, which is the sad part, which, firsthand I saw this drug destroy lives, him being the first. So I don't even know if he's alive. I didn't see him from that time forward.
You don't even know if he's alive?
No.
Wow. Did you have any idea how dangerous crystal meth is? I mean, athletes can live in their own cocoon and maybe, or did you really know this is totally addictive?
I don't know. Does anybody really understand the power of drugs when they choose to do it? I mean, it's at the time I was depressed. I mean, I was at a low point. I was in a life I didn't choose. I was in a marriage I didn't want to be in. And somebody came along and offered me an escape, and so I took it. And do you realize the trappings of it when it happens? No, I couldn't understand the full implications of what it means. I think that's part of the trappings of drugs. I think that's part of the truth that has to be talked about drugs, is that it does appear to offer you something without taking anything. But that quickly turns, and when it turns, it's quite horrifying.
How does it turn?
It just destroys your choices. You think it's giving you a chemically induced sense that you're connecting and at least feeling again. And the next thing you know, you're getting more separated from the people in your life, and you're becoming more and more dependent on it, and it takes full ownership of you at some point.
What's it feel like at first?
Well, the feeling itself is just this insane amount of energy. I mean, anytime you can do something and stay up for a few days, it's pretty intense.
Few days?
Oh, it's possible, sure.
What'd you do with your days?
I did a lot of cleaning.
Cleaning? Wow.
Polished the silver.
Yeah.
Played a few rounds of golf, but everything I did was pretty much on my own. And it's a lonely existence, and you feel horrible about it. When you make the first decision, vast sadness that comes with it.
Really?
Oh, sure. I mean,
But that must have just added to your depression.
It did. It was a manifestation of it. I think that you can. Had no energy to do anything, and so I was pretty. Just I didn't want to get out of the bed in the morning. None of that. But this at least got me to feel something. So that was a false sense of good that came with it.
At your worst, how often were you doing it?
I don't know. I've been asked this question a number of times, and it was a very foggy time in my life. I mean, separate from the drug itself, it was a foggy time. Days ran into days. I pulled out of Grand Slams, 3 of the 4 that year, and there's no telling. I mean, it was way more than it should have been, but it's not like I took it on the road with me and did it on changeovers or something for kind of that.
Well, that's kind of the irony to Martina Navratilova's comments, that perhaps you should give back some victories from that year in '97, because she compared it to Roger Clemens, who took performance-enhancing steroids, or we think he did. It's not exactly a performance enhancer, crystal meth.
I couldn't have beat Martina on it.
Interesting. I mean, did you even play on it?
No, it's impossible. First of all, there's just a physical inability to do it. It's the heart rate is too intense. You literally would have health. You literally could die. I mean, the heart rate can get out of control. But secondly, how are you going to ever calm yourself to hit a second serve? It's an impossibility. My dealings with it was in privacy, and it was, it was in my own prison.
You write movingly about the moment you decided it was time to stop. You're in Stuttgart. You played terrible. Brad Gilbert takes you back and says, you either need to quit tennis or start over.
Yeah.
And what was your answer?
It was a rough moment, because I looked at Brad, and I looked at this guy that still believed I had game left, and I kind of realized, here's a guy that is believing in me, even when I don't believe in myself. Here's a guy that I've actually aged. I actually looked at him and thought, God, I've put you through a lot, and here you still are, telling me we can do this as long as we're willing to commit to it. And I remember looking outside the traffic in Stuttgart, watching the lights, wondering how many people are going to jobs or lives that they haven't chosen, that they've woken up in, that they've found themselves in, but yet they found reasons to do it, whether it's for their family or for or others. And I thought to myself, while I never chose tennis, maybe this is a chance in my life to actually choose it. I can walk away now. I can give up. I can quit. But if I actually choose it right now, it will be my choice. And I will take ownership of my life. And I will find reasons and ways to attach new meanings to old tasks. And I will find a way to make it a life that's mine. And it was an epiphany that day. But it's an evolution of where you travel and the roads you've gone and the things you've learned and what all has made up this sort of low point.
Did you go to rehab to stop?
No, I never felt like I was walking away from something. I always felt like I was walking towards something. So it didn't have the foothold in my life that has been sensationalized on some level. And, it's always been a bit curious to me because it's an intense drug and, it was something that I never went out and got. It was something I never prepared. It was gotten by my assistant. It was prepared by my assistant. He told me what it was. I don't know if it was some hybrid version for all I know, because I've seen that drug get a foothold in people's lives and destroy it. And I was able just to shut it down. I just did. I had stopped long before, a number of weeks before Stuttgart, because I was actually attempting to get ready for the indoor season, and never looked back.
You talk about being depressed, that this was, because you were depressed, here was an escape. What do you think made you depressed? Just that you felt like you hadn't chosen your life and you were stuck in it?
Yeah, and you add to the fact that I was in a life that I didn't want to be in a marriage I didn't want to be in, and now add the fact that it seems like I have everything to the world, and it seems like I have everything to me. I had all the things that appeared to be a life that should be content and at peace, and I didn't, which added to the overall anxiety, which added to my sense of what is this all about and what am I really looking for.
When you were depressed, did you have the classic symptoms? Rage, crying, not want to get out of bed?
Yeah, I had certainly a lot of all those. I mean, I came back home one time and managed to destroy all my trophies, because every time I looked at my trophies, it just reminded me of a life that came with more of a cost than it did what it gave.
Did you ever get the replacement trophies?
No, I took a little hammer and I hammered out. I eventually hammered out all the dents. I mean, these weren't glass, so they didn't shatter. They just got bent up a little bit.
How do you destroy a Wimbledon trophy?
Well, the first thing you do is you hold it like you won the damn thing, right?
Right.
And then you raise it like you won it, and then everything goes dark. Then instead of keeping it up there, it goes other places. It develops wings.
What is the most durable trophy? What's the hardest one to...
If you can believe it, it's that little damn Wimbledon one, because they don't give you the real cup. They give you this miniature
smaller one, yeah.
And it's dense. I mean, the trophy managed to have a duel with glass and won.
Your wife then was Brooke Shields. Did she know? Could she tell you were depressed?
It's a good question. I think the easy answer to that is I don't know. I think that's kind of a reality that I was living in, that neither one of us were very connected or aware of the other one's life. We were two different people at the wrong times in our life, no question. I don't know, unless you know yourself, I mean, are you really capable of loving anybody? Are you really capable of being married to anybody? It was a time in my life where I think she probably spent more time not wanting to engage, giving me some room to figure some things out.
Have you heard from her? She read the book.
Yeah, she was a part of this process. That was important. I mean, I went through to great pains to understand other people's recollections, other people's perceptions. I mean, you have to figure that out. They're tough roads to navigate, and we had many similar recollections. Our interpretations were different at times, and I'm sure if she wrote a book, it would probably look different.
She wasn't mad?
No, I think she was trying to understand. I think it was a reality that I've come to terms with recently that she was, having to see firsthand, and I don't know how hard or easy that was. We just haven't been close since.
So you make this vow that you're going to give up this drug, and you're happy to give it up, and you're going to start playing for something outside yourself, and things are going better, but then you flunk the drug test, and the ATP says, what the heck's going on? You write this famous letter in which you say, Slim would put it in his drink, and you accidentally took a sip of his drink, and that's obviously how you tested positive.
Yeah.
It was a lie.
It was a lie. There were bits of truth in it, but it was a lie.
And did you think you would get away with this? Were you terrified?
I was scared to death. I was scared, ashamed, panicked. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I also was committed that that would be the end of it. That you know, if I did get a second chance, that I would make the most of it, and that I would spend every day trying to atone for it.
Have you lost speeches, endorsements, appearances because of this admission?
You know, it's only been a few weeks. You know, I mean, of course it's important to me what people think, but this is something people need time to process. But no, as of the answer to the questions, no.
Any fallout at your school?
You know, what the kids feel deep in their hearts and minds is the most important thing to me, and there's hard truths that need to be addressed. I mean, I wrote this book first and foremost with my children at the forefront of my mind, and the question becomes, do you want your children to know it? Well, yeah, I actually do want them to know. They need to know that I make mistakes. They need to know that we all make mistakes. They need to know that they're going to make mistakes. But what are you going to do with those mistakes? That's where you define who you are. That's the turning point in your life that is either makes it good or not so good, is what you do with the mistake. And when they're old enough to understand the horrifying truths about drugs, what drugs are, they're going to understand that I've made that mistake too, but I can still somehow learn from it and control my tomorrow. My tomorrow can look different than today does.
Did anybody say, don't do this? Did Steffi say, don't write this book? Did your dad say it?
No, nobody really stepped up to say that, because the people that know me best knew that I had lock on, and they knew that I had a reason to do this. They knew that I really believe that this is going to have power in giving tools and inspiring millions of people that possibly aren't even born yet. And if the price that's paid, if the price for that is what people think, or an image of me that no longer is had, well, you don't have that image of me, but you have the true me, and deal with it, because it's real. And if I can help one person, let alone maybe millions, that's a price I felt like I needed to pay.